Welcome back to Mansions of Madness, 2nd edition. We're playing Cult of Sentinel Hill. This, I believe, is Sentinel Hill. We're almost there. We're in bad shape. Both Mandy and Ashcan are wounded. Mandy is also suffering insanity, but we've collected a lot of stuff, so let's take another quick look at our items and characters, and then we'll get right into this playthrough episode, which may be the conclusion. I'm not sure. I haven't played this before. I don't know what's going to happen here. Probably something not very pleasant. All right, so looking at Ashcan here, he's wounded, which means you cannot perform the move action more than once each round. He has the Tome of Horrors, that when you suffer one or more horror while resolving a horror check, he gets to gain 1 clue. He has 1 face-down damage, 4 face-down horror, a total of 7 health, and 7 sanity. He has the Carbine Rifle, a nice long-range weapon doing 5 damage when it hits. Duke lets him at the start of his turn do a free trade action between any character within range. He has the Arcane Manuscript, which is a tome. He adds 1 die when resolving lore checks. Silver Key, the Pickaxe, which is a heavy weapon, Forensic Evidence, and Dynamite. As an action, you light the fuse and toss the explosive. Flip this card and place it in a space within range. Awesome. So he can light it and throw it. And I'm sure he's going to be doing that pretty soon. Let's take a look at Mandy, and then we're going to get into the investigation. All right, checking out Mandy. She's got a face-down damage. She has a broken leg, which means when she moves more than a single space on her turn, she has to flip 1 damage face up. And of course, we know that 1 damage she has makes her drop an item. So that's not what we want. She's wounded. She's insane. She has 2 face-down horror. She has now a whole bunch of weapons. She has the wrench, which is a heavy weapon. She has a knife, which is a bladed weapon. She also has 45 automatics. She has 3 pieces of evidence: the old journal, the cult sigil, and circumstantial evidence. She also has the Elder Ward. When she's attacked by a monster, she gets to roll 1 extra die. She has Feed the Mind as an action. You or an investigator within range can become focused, and she has Poison Mist. All right, back to the board. Let's get doing our stuff. All right, and I left a note in the last episode. Mandy was up here, and she can only move 1 space, or she's going to have to flip up her damage and drop an item. And I moved her here thinking she couldn't move here. Well, you can move diagonally in this game. So she actually moved here, then she moved here and did an investigation. She should have been in this spot with the investigate token here. And then she could have investigated and moved. So I'm actually going to move her here. It all makes sense. It's just she would have moved to here and then to here. She wouldn't have moved here and here. It didn't make any sense. She is insane, of course, but I did that as an error. So I'm going to place her here, which makes more sense. Ashcan's movement and everything was okay. All right, let me readjust the camera slightly, and then we're going to start into the investigator. Up first, I am going to have Mandy go. Now, of course, Mandy has a broken leg. She's wounded. She can only move once. She is going up the hill. She's going to investigate the standing stones. And why do I have a bad feeling about this? But for her second action, so she's moved, her second action, she will be investigating this. So let's consult the app. It says the altar is a solid slab of white river stone, but the center has been worn into a bowl. Around the edges are glowing purple ruins that seem to swirl and move before your eyes. An investigator can tap to attempt the puzzle using lore only if they have at least 2 evidence. Well, she has 3 pieces of evidence, which is not a problem, and her lore is 4, and so I do believe she will attempt the puzzle. Now, I've got too much glare and too much craziness on my app to try and film it, so unfortunately the puzzle I'm going to have to kind of just tell you what I'm doing off screen, and it is a sigil puzzle where you have to guess the different colored glyphs, and if you get a success, it tells you it's in the right location, and if you get a spyglass symbol, it tells you you have the right symbol in the wrong location. So I think I'm just going to do this kind of off screen because I can't really film it without having it look terrible. And so I will come back here in a second. She has 4 guesses she can make, and she has no clue tokens. And so I'm going to do that, and I'm going to come back and tell you what happened. All right, she was not able to decipher what's going on, but I have ruled out 2 of the colored glyphs. There's no yellow and there's no blue. I know where the green goes. There's 4 locations, so it's not the simplest of things to figure out. There's 1 red glyph, 1 green glyph, and I know where the green one goes. So it's going to have to be, I believe there's going to be 2 white glyphs, a green and a red, and that should solve it. But we've used up her 4 moves, and so up next, I think what I'm going to do is we're going to try to keep deciphering this. I have a cunning plan with Ashcan. Ashcan is going to use Duke. And Duke here says, at the start of your turn, which it is now, you may perform a trade action as if you were in the space within range. And it's not, that doesn't cost does it cost an action? You see, at the start of your turn, you may perform a trade action. And it clearly says trade action as if you were in a space. So using Duke would cost an action. What I was going to do is get one of the pieces of evidence from Mandy. And I think, oh boy, I think he's going to go ahead and use Duke to do that for an action. So he will just take the old journal. Duke wanders over to Mandy, grabs the old journal. That's going to give him now 2 pieces of evidence. He has forensic evidence now, the old journal, and then as a move action, he will move up here with Mandy. Unfortunately, he's used 2 actions now, so he can't continue on with the puzzle. So we're just going to have to leave it there and go into the Mythos phase, which is not great, but that's what it is. Into the Mythos phase we go, and yes, indeed, the fire is out of control. So again, I'm just going to burn the sawmill down. Of course, we probably have to go in there and get something for the end of this scenario. I have no idea. So another fire is going to continue to spread throughout the sawmill. And continuing on with the Mythos phase, oh my god. Skittering and creeping, 100,000 spiders emerge from their hiding places. Ashcan Pete scrambles to avoid the worst of their bites. Agility, and he needs 2 successes. Well, Ashcan's agility at least is 4. And so let's see if he can avoid these spiders. Of course not. He only gets 1 success. Oh man, this is really, really bad. Okay. It says if he passes, blah, 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 blah. If he fails, he receives many bites and the venom makes the world warp around him. Ashcan Pete suffers 1 face down damage and 2 horror and becomes stunned. Oh my god, a face down damage? That's not going to bother him much. Well, it's going to bother him some. He has 2. It's the horror that's going to cause problems, and he has to suffer those face up. So this could cause some issues. So let's look at the first one. Minor shock. Resolve immediately. No additional effect. Flip this card face down. Now he has 5 horror, and this one, he's squeamish. Keep face up. After you perform an attack action, flip 1 horror face up. Okay, well, I guess we're just going to have to suck that up. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He has 6 horror now of a possible 7. So he's not quite insane, but he's getting there. He also now must become stunned. Well, he's going to become stunned. All right, let's take a look at the stunned condition once more. And stunned clearly says you cannot perform more than a single action during your turn. So he is hobbled to having only 1 action on his turn. Okay, that was just not good. Not good at all. All right. Oh, and continue. A crash rocks the ground beneath your feet, and you hear mournful moaning floating through the night air. Old Watley's experiment is nearing completion. Oh, great. Into the investigator's turn. Well, isn't that exciting? All right. Boy, oh boy. We're going to have... Ashcan now has 2 pieces of evidence. For his first and only action, because he's stunned, he's going to try and continue to resolve that puzzle. And so we'll get rid of his stun condition now. Basically, he can only do one action this turn, and he is doing it. He's trying to uncover the ruins. All right, so we know where the green goes. I know where the green goes. I'm just doing this sort of off screen here. I'm sorry I can't film it. It would be pretty hard to do that. So I'm going to just do it this way. And we should find out how many guesses he gets. He has a lore of 3. He has a lore of 3, but he also has the arcane manuscript. Roll one additional die. Oh, roll one additional die when resolving the test. It has nothing to do with this. So he's going to get 3 chances. All right, so I put in the first one, and that's not what I wanted. Why is this not working? Okay. So for his first guess, it unlocks. Wow, I just managed to get everything completely where it had to be. Puzzle complete. The symbols circling the altar flare bright white, and the very ground of Sentinel Hill begins to tremble. Fractures in the altar begin to form, spiderwebbing out from the center. Something seems to be embedded inside the altar. An investigator can tap to attempt the puzzle using strength only if they have at least 3 evidence. Okay, well, he's used up his one and only action, so he can't really do anything. Man, and Mandy has a strength of 3. She is almost useless for doing that. And that's basically the end of Ashcan's turn. So Mandy, I think, is going to move her 1 space here, and she's going to try and investigate what's going on down there. There is a perfect dark line from the top of Sentinel Hill to the base where no grass has grown. All right, for her second action, then she's going to investigate that. The streak of dead grass is still wet where the blood of countless animals has flowed from the circle of standing stones. Gain a clue, then discard the search token. So she's going to gain 2 clues because her special ability, of course, when she gains 1 clue, once per turn, she will gain an extra clue. So at least she has 2 clue tokens now. Unfortunately, that ends the investigator turn. So we're going to hit continue, and we're going into the Mythos phase. Oh man, this is going to be painful, I think. We're into the Mythos phase. What happened? The fire spreads out of control. Yes, it does. It does spread out of control. Well, we're going to go from here, and we're going to jump right up to this spot. Why not? The whole place is just burning down around us while things happen. And continuing on now with the Mythos phase. The Mythos event affects the investigator in an outdoor space with the most health. The most health, I think that is a tie, is it not? Well, Ashcan's base health is 7, but he's wounded twice for 5 health. Mandy has a base health of 6, and she has 1 damage for 5. So they both have 5 health. Ashcan, oh man, I think... I don't know what we're going to do here. I think we're going to go ahead and we're going to have Mandy eat it. So Mandy's going to be the one affected. The air fills with crackling needles of static crawling over your skin. The building charge breaks all at once, sending several lightning bolts crashing to earth around you. Suffer 3 damage. Agility +1 negates. Aich, ay, ay. Okay, her agility is 3. Agility of 3 +1. So she's going to roll 4 dice. She has 2 clue tokens, though. So we don't want her to suffer 3 damage. Wow. Okay, then. Oh, come on. Well, she's going to use her 1 clue token to turn this at least into 1 success. So now she's going to suffer 2 damage. Okay, and these are going to be face up, so this could get painful. She already has a broken leg, 1 face down damage. First one says, minor injury. Only a flesh wound. No additional effect. Flip this card face down. Come on, minor, minor, minor. She has a concussion. Well, how appropriate from a lightning blast. Your head feels clouded as if your thoughts swim through a fog. Resolve immediately. Discard 1 clue, then flip this card face down. No, she only has 1 clue left, and she loses it from the lightning strike. Continuing on with the app, the lightning leaves scorched marks that flare orange in the wind. Place fire in your space. Oh, yay. So the lightning blast causes a fire to start. Oh man, are you kidding me? Continuing on, a cackle of laughter rises above the din of thunder and falling trees. Finally, the experiment will be complete. Continue. Oh, it's the investigator turn. We got to crack this. We have got to crack this thing, whatever it is. Oh, goodness. Now we need 3 evidence, for this to work. This is just... Oh, we shouldn't have set Mandy down here. That was a bad idea. He's going to use, again, Duke to grab the evidence from Mandy. So he's using Duke on his first action to grab another piece of evidence. He now has 3 pieces of evidence. For his second action, he is going to use, I believe it was Strength. He's going to attempt a Strength puzzle with 3 evidence, and it's the slide puzzle where you have to make a picture. And with Strength, he has 4 strength, so he's going to get 4 chances. So I'm going to do that off screen again. Sorry, I can't get this all here for you, but I will come back and give you the results. He gets 4 chances to do this, and probably not going to pull it off. All right, you're not going to believe me, but I did pull it off in 4 moves, and Ashcan had 4 strength. Cool. It says, with Sentinel Hill shaking around you, you clear away enough of the stone to reveal several wrought iron keys and trails of black powder. As soon as your fingers brush against one of the keys, a great clap of thunder startles you, and the altar splits in 2. Gain the ritual component's unique item and 1 clue, then discard this search token. All right, so he gets a clue, which, doesn't he get an extra one or something now? Clue token, all right. Let me just, I'm going to turn the camera off. I'm going to gather all the necessary items and things here and come right back. All right, so I've given Ashcan his 1 clue. He just gets 1 clue. And he's going to get the ritual components, which is evidence. Now he has 4 pieces of evidence. He has the forensic evidence, the old journal, circumstantial evidence, and the ritual components. And then it tells us to gain a clue and remove that search token. And continue in the app. Oh, good Lord. With a crash of lightning, a thin man appears atop Sentinel Hill. He snarls at you. You fools! Now no one can control it. I was so close. Spawn a wizard as indicated. This is old Watley. All right, I'm going to have to dig out the wizard, and he's going to appear on the hill with Ashcan. Ooh, this is bad. All right, I fished him out. Looks like old Watley, the wizard, has appeared on Sentinel Hill, but I did manage to destroy the altar, so that's good. But we're going to continue with the app and see what other hideous and horrible things happen. All right, Zebulon comes out of the woodwork. When the light fades, Zebulon sprints up the hill to confront his relation, looking far younger than his white hair would suggest. Move Zebulon Watley to this location. Here he is. Continuing on with the app, you hear Zebulon shout under a peal of thunder, "What was done by Watley hands, let Watley hands undo." He reaches for old Watley at the same time as Sentinel Hill disappears in the flash of sudden lightning raining down on the forest. You hear the screams of horrible creatures all around you. Discard all monsters. Okay, is he a monster? I'm assuming. When the air finally clears, Sentinel Hill stands empty. Both old Watley, the old Watley men are nowhere to be seen. Discard Zebulon Watley. Okay, well, could this be good for us? Continue. Oh my god, a terrible howl echoes off the near trees. Building to a crescendo of pain, the night air seems to draw together into tentacles the size of tree trunks, wriggling around a human face large enough to eclipse the full moon. It seems to be weakened by the evidence you hold. Spawn the Dunwich horror as indicated. Oh my god. Are you kidding me? And good Lord, this is the Dunwich horror. And I apologize, not painted, but there's the face of a Watley. The Dunwich horror appears right down here at the bottom of this hill. Yee! Continuing on, with the experiment disrupted and Zebulon gone, it will be up to you to defeat old Watley's creation. We're continuing on with the... Oh my god. Hey, this is not the end of the world, I hope. Okay, oh goodness. Well, I don't even know what to do here. This is getting pretty tricky. Gonna have to think about this. We're gonna have to take this thing down. I don't even know how many hit points it has. I want to have a look at it. It has 15 hit points. Holy man, 15 hit points. I'm going to have to, like I said, take a think about this, come back, and we're going to see what we're going to do here. This is the final battle, I'm sure. Okay, so we're going to begin with Mandy. Her first action, she's going to try to put out the fire so she doesn't burn to death. She has an agility of 3, so her first action is going to be doing a, what you call it, a put out extinguish fire action. And she gets 1 success, which is good enough to put the fire out. So she will not be taking a damage. For her second action, she will be using the 45 automatics to try and put a couple of bullet holes into this abomination. So she's going to attack it with her firearm. You fire at the creature, but it moves and jerks, causing your shots to miss. You take a knee, carefully sight down the barrel of your weapon and fire again. Agility, and you need 2 successes. Agility, and she needs 2 successes. Her agility is 3. Come on, if we ever needed 2 successes, it's right now. And she doesn't have a clue token. Urgh. So she only gets 1 success. If you fail, your shot misses like the others. That is the end of Mandy's turn. Up next is Ashcan. And for Ashcan's first exciting action, he's going to use the dynamite. And it says, as an action, you light the fuse and toss the explosive. Flip this card and place it in a space within range while he's throwing the dynamite right on top of the Dunwich horror. And it says, the fuse is only so long, it would be wise to run. At the end of the investigator phase, each investigator in the space or an adjacent space suffers 8 damage, and each monster in those spaces suffers 10 damage. Then discard this card. Okay. Boy, oh boy, I should have read the back of this to start with. And so I'm going to retro something here because you're supposed to be able to look at the back of cards. Mandy wouldn't have been putting out the fire. So we're going to leave the fire right where it is because that only makes sense. She's going to take 1 damage from the fire. So she's going to do, her first action will be to move and her second action will be to shoot. So kind of retro something here. She's going to take a face down damage for the fire. Which is okay. That's going to give her a total of 5 damage. His broken leg, 4 face down damage. She's not dead because we don't want her to be adjacent to the dynamite. So Ashcan throws the dynamite, and of course then he's going to do a move action. He's going to move 2 spaces away. He can still shoot with the carbine from here, 1, 2, 3. And that's going to be the end of our investigator's turn. So at the end of the investigator phase, each investigator in a space or an adjacent space suffers 8 damage. Not going to happen. And each monster in the space, in those spaces, suffers 10 damage. So the dynamite, oh my lord, blows up on the Dunwich horror, doing 10 damage to it. That is pretty dang awesome. And if he had stayed there and hit him with the... Nah, never mind. We're just going to go ahead and do that. That is it for... the investigator turn, and we're now on to the Mythos phase. Oh my lord, I hope this thing can only move 1 space. If not, we're probably going to be in pretty bad shape. Alright, Mythos phase. We're right at the end here. This is a long episode. Fire spreads out of control. Of course it does. The fire is going to burn. Oh, it's going to burn into the swamp some more. I don't know if we can see that. I suppose we can tilt it up. So I'm just going to take the fire and spread it up here. It's burning all over. So we've got lightning, we've got fire, we've got all kinds of craziness happening. Continuing on, unbidden the terrible things you have seen rise up from your memory where they were safely locked away. Each investigator flips 2 horror face up. Oh my word. So Amanda's going first. Minor shock, no additional effect. Flip this face down. Absolute terror. Resolve immediately. Suffer 1 additional face down horror. Then flip this card face down. Okay, well, she's shaken in her boots from all these horrific things going on. She now has 3 face down horror, and she's not gone totally insane again. Ashcan now has 5 face down horrors, and he's going to have to flip up 2 of them. Oh my goodness. Hysteria. Resolve. Flip 1 damage face up, then flip this card face down. Alright, so I'll just grab 1 of his 2 damage. Minor injury, no additional effect. Flip this face down. And he's got to flip up 1 more. We'll take this one. A minor shock, no additional effect. Flip this card face down. Alright, so we got out of that a little bit easily. So he's 1 horror away from insanity. And Mandy's 1 damage away from death. Continuing on with the app. Oh my god, the Dunwich... Okay, the Dunwich horror moves up to 2 spaces to be within range of as many investigators as possible. Then it attacks the investigator within range with the fewest weapons. I think the one with the fewest weapons has got to be Ashcan. Ashcan only has the carbine and the pickaxe. And yeah, Mandy's got the wrench, the knife, and the 45s. Alright, so let me read that. He moves 2 spaces within range of as many. So he'll just go 1, 2, and he moves right in here with Mandy. Now he's within range of Ashcan and Mandy, so I'll just... Oh my god. Alright, the monster attacks. So within range is within 3 spaces, and he's going to attack Ashcan. Would he move right in with Ashcan? He's here, he could go 1, 2. He's going to move right in with Ashcan because he will be attacking Ashcan, not Mandy. So he attacks Ashcan. Oh my good lord. For all its power, the creature seems wary of weapons and attacks directly only when it can sense weakness to satiate its hunger. So this time we are... Oh, come on. The worst stat possible. Influence. Oh. And he needs 3 successes. Well... It's impossible for Ashcan to get 3 successes with 2 dice, and there's no other way he can roll extra dice, so he just automatically fails. If you fail, you try to weave your arms through arms enough to appear bigger and fall down an unseen scree of gravel, suffer 2 damage, and drop a random item. Well, Ashcan can handle... suffer 2 damage. These are going to be face up. Oh my good lord. Alright, 2 face-up damage, minor injury and minor injury. Both of them have no additional effect. Flip face down. He has 4 face down damage. This is a nasty struggle. And he has to drop a face down item. I'm going to have to collect all his items, so I'll be right back. Alright, so he's going to drop 1 of these items, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So, yep, we're going to roll a 10-sided die. Alright, let me get out a 10-sided die here. We're going to roll that, and that is the item he will drop. And he drops number 1, well, which is, he drops the ritual components. Okay, I don't really care about them, but he has everything else. So let me get that arranged. Oh, and one thing I forgot is he has the Tome of Horror. So whenever you suffer horror damage, he gets a clue. So he will get another clue token. So he actually has 2 now. And I do believe that, I hope that concludes the attack. Continuing on, each investigator must resolve a horror check against the monster within range. Oh, good lord. So they have to do horror checks now against the Dunwich horror. The monster flickers from your sight, leaving only groaning earth and shaking trees as evidence of its passage. Observation, 2 successes. Let's do Ashcan first. Ashcan's observation is 4 dice. He has 2 clue tokens. Come on, Ashcan, do not fail us now. He's going to spend a clue token. He has 2 successes, so he passes. Mandy has an observation of 5, and she needs 2 successes. Come on, we really need this. She gets 1, 2, she gets 3 successes. You don't scare us, Mr. Dunwich Horror. Okay. If you pass, you feel childhood memories of unseen presences, of lurking things in the darkness awakening within you. Flip 2 horror face up. That's all it says. Flip 2 horror face up. Ashcan is going to flip 2 horror face up. Cower in fear. Become stunned. Then discard this card. Okay, that's bad, and we'll do this one. Minor shock, so it just flips back over. At least he got rid of a horror, but he becomes stunned. So we're going to discard that. And he's going to become stunned once again, which means he's only going to get one action on his turn. That's not good. All right, 2 horror flipped for absolute terror. Suffer 1 additional face down horror, then flip this card face down. Okay, so she gets another additional horror. Oh no, don't go nuts. She only has 4. We're going to shake them up again. And absolute terror, suffer an additional face down horror, then flip this face down. Oh my god, she now has 5 face down horrors, of going back up to her total sanity of 8. But we managed to get by. End of the Mythos phase. We're back into the investigator phase. I know this is a super long episode, but let's just finish this guy off. Ashcan has 1 action. Ashcan's going to use his pickaxe. He's going to attack the Dunwich horror with the pickaxe, and we're going to see what happens there. You swing the weapon in a tight circle, building up momentum before thrusting out toward the creature. Agility, and he needs 2 successes. Ashcan's agility is 4. He needs 2 successes. Come on! 1, 2. Excellent. He gets 2 successes with his pickaxe. What does it do? If you pass, your speeding weapon slams into the beast. The terrible mass heaving backwards, the monster suffers damage equal to the weapon's damage plus your test result. Oh, good lord. 3 damage and 2 successes is 5 damage. That is a total of 15. The Dunwich horror is killed by the pickaxe. Excellent work, Ashcan. The hulking abomination screams to the stars, enraged at the moral blow you've dealt it. The investigation is complete. And now we get an end scenario, and it says, the enormous horror keens long as its blood splatters onto the stones underfoot. A bolt of lightning cracks out of the sky at that moment, blinding you and splitting the ground open where the beast stood. Excellent. And I do believe when you regain your sight, not only has the horror vanished, but there is no trace of a strange cult. You convince yourself that they could not have survived, that the power surrounding Sentinel Hill has dissipated. That is so cool. I'm getting a little graphic here, but again, I can't film it. Dawn rises slowly as you leave the standing stones over Dunwich and return home. You invest in a good guard dog, and one that can bay loud and long should the abomination return. Hey, we've got Duke. We don't need a guard dog. And that is the end. All right, adjust the camera, and we're going to close off this series. All right, sorry, this was a very long episode, but I did want to conclude it. We have Mandy and we have Ashcan have figured out and put a stop to the end of Cult of Sentinel Hill. So that was playthrough Mansions of Madness 2nd edition. Wow, Mandy at the end was wounded and insane. Oh, and I have to, of course, reveal the insane condition. Her insane condition is, you do not win the game as normal. Instead, you win only if the investigation is complete, which it is, and you have 1 or more bladed weapons or light source. And that is why she wanted to get the knife from Ashcan. So she wins, Ashcan wins, the cult loses. That is so excellent. All right, well, thanks so much for watching along. Like again said, that was Mansions of Madness 2nd edition. I had not played this scenario before, so I wasn't quite sure what was going to happen. Fire all over the place. These two would be running for the other hills to get out of here. And that's it. So they won. Wow, I wasn't sure we were going to pull it off. Of course, the dynamite played a big part. And I do apologize once again for making the errors in the game. I cannot cross impassable borders, and you can use the poison mist spell through doors. And when creatures say they move within range, range does not pass through doors for movement of monsters. So anyway, thanks so much for watching along. Thanks for your suggestions, your comments, your likes, subscriptions, really appreciated. Join me next time for another board, card, or dice game playthrough, complete playthrough from beginning to end. That's what I do on my channel. So thanks so much once again for watching along, and we'll see you in the next series.